Imagine starting your adult life entirely broke, sleeping on train station benches. That was the reality for a young man in Mumbai with no money and no clear path forward. Yet within a few decades, that same individual became a monk, graduated from MIT, and eventually built a career as a multi-millionaire tech CEO. To understand how a leap like that happens, we have to look closely at how we make decisions. Most of us navigate our most critical years relying on what psychologists call System 1 thinking. This is your fast, emotional, instinct-driven brain. It feels natural to use, but it often leads to catastrophic outcomes. Left unchecked, this emotional default forces us into self-destructive behaviors, especially with money. When the financial crisis hit in 2008 and markets collapsed, System 1 took over for millions of investors, screaming at them to panic and sell everything they had. Even the speaker fell into this exact trap. He watched his investments drop 30%, panicked, and pulled whatever was left out of the market. When the economy roared back just a year later, his fear kept him on the sidelines, costing him a 40% increase in his net worth. Extreme success is the result of ruthless System 2 frameworks, cold, rational, automated rules designed to protect us from our own emotional impulses. Let's apply this logic to your career. It turns out the pervasive advice to follow your passion is statistically flawed. Only 4% of people ever successfully monetize their passion, leaving the rest to struggle with bills they can't pay. High value in the marketplace is forged through agonizing, repetitive practice. Masters of their craft succeed because they put in thousands of hours mastering the grueling, unglamorous details that make others quit. Instead of tying your job to your personal identity, you need to treat your career like an investment portfolio. It is a collection of hard skills, soft skills, and strategic connections that you acquire and compound over time. To maximize that portfolio, you have to sacrifice the emotional comfort of working remotely. You have to physically move to high-density hubs where industry action, real-world collisions, and friction actually happen. Real career leverage is engineered. You build it by abandoning what feels safe, embracing the unglamorous grind, and becoming undeniably competent at something the market values. This same rigid discipline is required to build wealth. The desire for status symbols and the traditional American dream often traps young professionals in credit card and mortgage debt with interest rates exceeding 20%. Investing $5,000 a year into an S&P 500 index fund starting in your 20s curves upward over 40 years to hit $1.4 million. The strict requirement? Stay in the market and never touch it, regardless of economic volatility. To guarantee that discipline, you need to remove human error entirely. You do this by forming a financial bureau of investigation, an automated system to track and route every single dollar before it hits your hands. This organizes cash into 4 buckets. Income flows first to an emergency fund, then everyday essentials. Next, money flows into equity, and finally, enjoyment. That equity bucket generates leverage. Salary buys present needs, but equity provides unlimited upside, buying your future. When things go wrong, this systemic thinking acts as your emotional armor. If you treat getting fired as a personal trauma, it paralyzes you. If you treat it as raw data, you can move forward and even maintain strategic relationships with the people who let you go. Enduring wealth and resilience do not rely on your daily willpower. They are the natural result of automated systems that make bad emotional decisions mechanically impossible. Optimizing your career and bank account is completely pointless if your internal life ends up emotionally bankrupt. The choice of a life partner is where most people let System 1 take the wheel. We rely on the immediate thrill of infatuation, but a successful partnership requires the slow, rational evaluation of System 2, judging how you handle tough conversations and evaluating long-term compatibility. Often, our worst decisions are driven by hidden emotional anchors, past traumas or childhood issues that subconsciously dictate our self-worth and keep us trapped in bad patterns. To move forward, it is a logical necessity to forgive yourself. You have to actively decide to drop the heavy bag of bricks that keeps you anchored to your past. True life optimization requires taking the exact same cold, objective logic you use to manage an investment portfolio and using it to audit, process, and cut the losses of your own emotional baggage. This logic eventually meets its limit. A senior monk, who was a successful physician before giving up his wealth, realized that external accumulation alone cannot solve for happiness. He distilled the problem into a mathematical equation. This diagram outlines the formula. H equals O divided by D. Happiness equals what you own divided by what you desire. The math reveals a trap. Even for the wealthiest people on Earth, the things we can own, our O, are finite, but human desires can scale infinitely. When the denominator grows without one-ets, it mathematically crushes your happiness toward zero. Since our ability to acquire is capped, the only variable we can control infinitely is our desire. By systematically driving desires toward zero, your happiness can approach infinity.